Okay. We are matching
Again.
again. Unbelievable.
Literally, when I got dressed, I said, there's no way. First of all, I've never seen you wear a denim shirt. No way is Ricky going to show up in a denim shirt.
So I showed up in a denim shirt because I was at the gym yesterday afternoon with a girlfriend who wore what I like to call the Canadian tuxedo. So she wore a jean shirt and then she had matching jeans on and these really cute Veronica Beard boots. And while she was getting dressed, I kept thinking that is the cutest outfit ever. And of course, thinking and then told her because everything that comes into my brain also pops out of my mouth. So this morning, while I was getting ready for this, because it's morning here, it's afternoon for you there, I saw there was a beautiful shirt.
And I'm Canadian, so it's totally relevant.
It's totally relevant. But I thought the same thing. There's no way Kayle's going to wear a jean shirt. I don't even know that she owns one. And not only that, I usually wear like gold jewel. Oh my God. I have two here. I have two down there. Please. I love them. And I even wore silver jewelry today, which I don't normally do. This is.
It's very Arizona.
It's
and
very Arizona,
I will say
although it's
denim.
from Seattle.
You're from Seattle, true. Denim for me, I have several denim jackets. That's my go-to airplane tuxedo. So it's usually a black pant, a white t-shirt, and a denim jacket, a cute little shorty, and then a sweater around my shoulders because you never know what is going to happen when you're on an airplane. So there's that. And
so you're not wearing shorts and a tank top like I see and flip-flops.
Never, ever. It's too cold on an airplane.
I wouldn't. The thought of wearing shorts and having my legs touch the seat and bare feet kind of freaks me out.
Oh, that's disgusting. So disgusting. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shoot the Shit in a Skirt. We are live. And today's going to be a little bit of a different vibe than the episodes that we've done before, because we are literally going to shoot the shit in denim. And we intro this episode every time talking about us being women in our 50s that met and instantly said, where the hell have you been my whole life? And our daily conversations are life changing. So we figured, why not hit record? And that's how the podcast was born. But today we're going to cover things like, we already covered travel, Canadian tuxedos. We already talked,
very important, always on the list.
Fashion, friendships, skincare. We're going to talk puzzles. We're going to talk travel. We're going to talk foreign spouses. We're going to talk all the things. So welcome to our Saturday conversation. And where do we start?
I don't know. That is such a good question. I mean,
we've already covered a lot. Speaking of Canada, there's one other thing that always just makes me laugh is that Americans think that Canadian bacon is actually what we call ham. No Canadian calls it Canadian bacon. It's just ham. Okay.
Why is it called Canadian bacon?
It's not.
I know, but it's called Canadian bacon here.
Yeah. Well, you tell me. You're the American in the room.
Sure.
Okay. So it's not Canadian bacon. So that we got out of the way.
Is it pancetta? Maybe it's just all pancetta.
Yeah, no. Pancetta is different. Pancetta is better. Everything from Italy is better.
Well, please. I mean, come on.
We know this because you have an Italian spouse.
We know. Speaking of foreign spouses, let's talk about the foreign spouses, because I think that is an interesting entry point for our Saturday chitter chatter. And here's why. When we met via the Outlier Project, and we had also both been invited to the Ladies of LinkedIn leadership retreat in Chicago. And one of the things that we both vowed to do before we showed up to that retreat, because we were all of us that were invited. So it was organized by Lindsay Dowd and Michelle Peacock. And it was 14 women in a house who didn't know each other. It was unbelievable.
When I told my corporate girlfriends that I was going to meet random strangers that I've never met before, that I met on LinkedIn, and I'm going to go share a house with them and share a bed with a random stranger, they were like, what has happened to you?
What has happened to you?
What has happened to you?
Right.
It was the best experience that I could have ever imagined in 2024.
I agree. I completely agree. And one of the things that we vowed to do was at least have a conversation with, a smattering of the women who were going to be attending, so we weren't showing up completely cold. So you were on my list and a number of others were on my list. And I think we ended up having like a 15-minute conversation. And then you were hosting a power hour on the Outlier Project, which is a community that we're both part of and how we met. And I showed up for the last 2 minutes because I said I would be there, and I ended up having a meeting that was running long. And I did my power hour yesterday, which is essentially you have an hour to talk about what you do. And I walk people through how to look at gaps in growing your business. And it was the best 2 minutes showing up to yours.
Aw.
And why I say that is twofold. One is when I did the power hour yesterday, and as I told you before we went live, I was really channeling you because even just that short amount of time that I was there was so powerful. And then ultimately when we met in person, it was immediate. Do you like my sound effects? But it was immediate. It was immediate. I loved your eyeshadow. I loved your earrings. I loved that holy perforated little bolero jacket thing you were wearing. Like I just loved everything about you. And while there were amazing women in that house that have become very deep, dark, phenomenal friends, there was really something about that weekend and just spending it together. In fact, my phone profile picture for you is encapsulates exactly what it was like to be together over the weekend, which for everybody that's listening, we
Monkey
pretended we
business.
were monkeys, and we call it monkey business, and we were picking at each other's hair and pursing our lips.
It's the best photo ever. It
It
has
is.
to be our thumbnail for YouTube. We have to figure it out if it's not already. So yeah, so I think it's interesting. So we were going to talk about foreign spouses, but before we go to foreign
Oh God, I
spouses,
forgot. I got lost in my chitter chatter.
our love affair is more important than
Then the love
our
affair with the
foreign
people.
spouses. We are squirrels, so this is something you just have to know about us. But before we do that, if if you were to ask me, pack your bags right now, you have 2 hours to get to the airport, where would you go? No doubt, like not even for a sliver of a second, my answer would be Italy.
Really?
Yes.
Have
What's
we I
yours?
don't know that we've had this conversation.
What's yours?
New Jersey.
That's so sweet.
I know. I love you.
Thank you.
You're
I love
welcome.
you too. No, really, where would you go? 2 hours. I mean, that's not my happy it's my happy place. Happy place is a different question, but 2 hours, you pack your
2
bags.
hours to
Totally.
make a decision, I'd go to Spain. And the reason I say Spain is this, and I don't know, I don't think we've had this conversation, so this is the beautiful thing about shooting the shit. The reason I say Spain is because I've spent the last 33 years in Italy. So I'm not over it. Every time I'm there, right? This is the beauty of the foreign spouse. Every time I'm there, it warms my soul, right? It fills my heart. The smells and the scents and the people and the noise, like it's everything I want out of life, truly. But Spain feels so fabulous and foreign and different. And even though Barcelona is only a 10-hour drive from my husband's hometown in northern Italy, it feels like I'm in a completely different world. And admittedly, and maybe this is why I feel this way, I have not been to Spain in 30 years. We spent 3 weeks driving around the country and camping, and it was the most magical 3 weeks ever, ever. And I just want to go back and taste it and experience it
Okay,
and
well,
be
maybe
part of it.
that's our next trip because Reiner and I are looking at places. So one of my husband's toxic traits is that he goes on Zillow around the world
Are you
and he's
serious?
like, let's look at la la la. So he has been looking at Spain lately, which is interesting because I had been to Barcelona before, but only for work. So I didn't see much outside of the W Hotel. But we went last year to Mallorca or Mallorca, and Valencia, and a southern tip in Alicante. So he had been looking at places in Spain. So that's really funny.
Yeah.
And I love that toxic trait. And he's like, look at this house, look at this house. And it's just fun to do because we're not retiring anytime soon, but it's fun to think about where we're going to end up in retirement. But Spain is one of them. So why don't you and I go do a look and see trip?
You know what? I'll always go on a look and see trip with you for sure. Okay, let's go back to the foreign spouses because this was a huge connection point. I remember we were sitting in a cab. Wherever the house had been rented in Chicago meant that we had to be in a cab or in an Uber or whatever to go anywhere. And it was a half an hour. So we had a lot of talk time. And I was in the front seat, you were in the back seat, and we were having a conversation. And Reiner and Mauro, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but we were talking about the challenges of being married to a foreigner, not only from sometimes the accent perspective, you speak German, I speak Italian, but just from a understanding and the nuances of the language. And what we talked about, which I thought was really an amazing connection point, was we both lived overseas with our spouses in the cities that they're from. And I always say, like, had I not lived there, I wouldn't understand the nuances of how he responds to me sometimes, because it feels off. It feels rude. It feels, I don't know. It's not the response you would expect when you grow up in Canada or the United States. But I always remember that he's just translating from Italian to English.
And it's
And
a
it's not
direct
actually
translation.
right.
And it's not their first language. So
Right.
even though you understand Italian, I understand some German, we don't speak in German.
Right.
And I grew up in Canada where
You wear
sorry
jean
is a word
tuxedos.
we do, and we say sorry a lot.
Right.
Germans don't say sorry a
No,
lot.
neither do the Italians at all.
So it's culturally, of course, there will always be a cultural nuance, but the language barrier is so much more significant than you realize.
It really is. It really is. I'm always grateful that I was able to have the opportunity to live there and live in his family's home with his brothers and sister and parents and cats and dogs and cousins and aunts and uncles, and just the influx of people and Italians all the time. Cause I think it's why we've been together for so long. And it's ultimately, one of the pieces of the puzzle that connected you and I instantly,
Yeah.
you and me instantly, because, we can completely understand the challenges, right? That probably they have been married to a native English speaker, because I can't say that you're American, right? A North American, let's say it that way. And we innately understand what it's like to be married to somebody who English isn't their first language.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry in any capacity. It has been an amazing adventure, and to have access to a total other culture, especially one that it would be your first place that you would pick. But it's definitely not for the faint of heart, is what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Best decision. I mean, best decision of my life.
Yeah.
I hit the jackpot in my in-laws, most wonderful
Same.
people that I couldn't have dreamed up better in-laws. And everything in the richness of what he has brought to our life, to Hayden and I, since we didn't meet him until she was 6. It has been magical, and the places
Mhm.
in the world that I've been able to see as a result. I say Italy, and he would say the same. I think he's a wannabe Italian. He is a German. No, he's Italian in a German's body. He would move to Italy in a heartbeat as well. And everything about the country, from the food, the wine, the people, the fashion, the terrain, the weather, the every time I've ever been to Italy, there's a woman peeing on the side of the road.
I mean,
About
nothing epitomizes a great place to live.
than women peeing on the side of the road. And it's women, not
100%.
men, which I always just find so fascinating. And I'm seeking it now. It's like, okay, I haven't seen a woman pee on the side of the road yet. I just love everything about that country. And it's easy. It's
It is.
easy. We can transport there. My happy place, on the other hand, is India. And I try to go to India every year, as you know, for an Ayurveda experience. that is my happy place, but India is the place I would go in a heartbeat. And we go to Germany so often. It's very similar to you. It's a
Right.
no-brainer. It's sort of our
Right.
central drop in, and then we can
Same.
go
Right.
anywhere we want. It borders 9 or 10 countries, I forget. We can drive to Italy in a couple of hours and all the good things. But what's kind of cool about being married to foreigners is also where we will end up when we, whenever, like when we retire, or when, like, I can't even wait to uncover what that looks like and to explore
Yeah.
more beautiful places in the world. And you continue to do, last year was Australia, this year might be Japan. I have no idea what's on the docket for us. We have a new place in Italy that we're going, Puglia. Is that how you say it?
Puglia. Yes. Good
Puglia.
job.
We're going to Puglia this year, which we have never been. We tend to stay more on the north part of Italy. And yeah, so excited to explore that. And who knows where else. Friends of ours, Silk and Jason, if you're listening, they retired at age 48 and 50. And they're buying a sailboat to travel around the world. And so, hello, we're going to be jumping on that sailboat wherever we can. So that'll also be incredible. At least annually, we will jump on with them. So that shifts us into travel, which obviously, being married to foreigners is a natural segue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to just double tap on something you said earlier, though, before we go into travel, which is I'd like to talk about your toxic trait, because I think that is
I have several. Which one?
the multiple.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The multiples. Can you just elaborate on that for our listeners? Because while you call it a toxic trait, it's also become probably now my toxic trait and has cost me a lot of money, but I think it's right.
No, it's not right. No, it's not right.
Can you talk about it? Can you talk about it for our listeners so that they have an understanding of what's going on here?
I think it's common actually for a lot of people, maybe. And maybe that's justification. I'm really, really conscious about it now though. And I'm trying not to do it anymore. Because
acknowledging it publicly is the first step to recovery.
It is a very, very, very good first step. So I worked 30 years in corporate. So since the pandemic, which has changed for a lot of us, I never went back into an office full time.
Right.
Now that I own my own company, I travel, but maybe I'm in New York City, maybe twice a month, maybe a speaking engagement here and there, la, la, la. I'm on camera all day, every day. So I have this beautiful wardrobe, and this wardrobe is filled with all of my items from being a corporate girly.
And it's just side note before you continue. I have spent time in that closet, and it is more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
You could live in that closet.
You could live in that closet.
Yeah.
And KL, just as a side note, buys things that are too big. And I'm so tall that her cloths actually fit me. So it's even more joyful because not only can I just look and touch everything, but I can actually fit into most things.
I forgot. Actually, I didn't forget that. That's actually probably also a toxic trait. You know where that comes from, though. Growing up, I was heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's for 20 years, I've been smaller. So, but I still have this, I have a different size body in my mind when I buy things, and I don't like anything too fitted. So I'm always buying one size up. And yes,
which benefits me.
Oh gosh. Okay, that's another toxic trait. But with that said, my toxic trait is when I buy something and I fall in love with it, I can't help myself but then to go and buy it in multiple colors. Now, if it's a t-shirt or a tank top, no big deal, right? It's not a massive investment. But there are times when it's a bigger investment and that's ridiculous and I should not be doing that. Or now I'll buy it and be like, oh, Ricky's going to love this. I need to make sure that I buy this for all my girlfriends. My other toxic trait is I will hunt for it to go on sale. Or of course, my luxury vintage shopping. Favorite thing to do whenever I go to a new city. I love luxury vintage shopping, but I will hunt or I will like hold it until it goes on sale. So it's silly, but there's something about the hunt of a deal that also gets me really excited. So I've stopped doing multiples. I just about did it the other day. I bought these Roan pants, which I don't know if you ever got those black.
I still haven't gotten them. No, I'll get on it. I don't know why
No,
I can't
Ricky,
pull the trigger.
I wore them every day this week. I cannot
Okay.
stand it. They're like the perfect fit. Anyway, I stopped myself from buying it in multiple colors. I'm really proud of myself.
I'm really proud of you. That is the first
Yeah.
step to recovery. Here's what I'm going to say about shopping. We can talk about travel, but I feel like we talked about foreign spouses and travel. So I'm just going to move on to fashion. I would like to talk about your toxic trait as it benefits me, because really at the end of the day,
All about you.
it's all about me.
Mm-hmm.
I came to visit last year in October and stayed with you. And then we went up to Boston and stayed with some friends up there, which was we had an amazing New England trip. But we were puzzling, which is our next topic. We were puzzling in the morning. And as your husband was leaving to go to work, he looked at us and said, ladies, please make sure you put the goulash in the oven at 3:00.
It was our only job that
It was
day.
our only job the entire day. And we said, yep, got it, 3:00. And I looked at him as he was walking out the door, and I said, 3:00, I got you.
For
And then
clarity, I don't cook. I cut off my pinky finger once. She's back, but and she works, but I literally cut my pinky finger off. I do not belong in the kitchen. And so he did not look at me
he
for
looked
3
at
o'clock.
me,
To
who
be
cooks
clear,
all the
and
time.
you owned it. You owned it.
Rutabaga finger. Sorry. Rutabaga finger. Yeah, he looked at me and I said, I am a responsible kitchen person, like very responsible. In fact, I was telling KL that I was supposed to read something last night, and I didn't because I ended up cooking because I've got to deliver food today. But so he looked at me, we said 3:00 right on. And then we went into the closet and started, I started trying on KL's clothes, and we were talking about things we need. And then we decided that we were going to go shopping at TJ Maxx Runway.
Yeah.
But I had a client call at 1:30 that day. So this is how it worked. We got to the store. I looked around for about 15 minutes, went and sat in front of the store, sat on a bench in the front of the store. And all KL did was roam around the store on my behalf, bring me things. As I'm on the call, I'm trying them on. I've got a pile of stuff. I give her my credit card. And now it's like 2:30, 2:45. I'm done with the call. And then it comes up to 3:00. I have completely forgotten about the goulash at this point, because I've got my personal shopper who has an amazing toxic trait of being able to find the deal. I've got a stack of clothes.
The deal and items that would be perfect for you. That is actually not toxic. That is
the best.
Brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I am a really good wing woman for anyone going shopping.
Yeah.
I know it will look good on you. I know like dimensions. So anyone who wants to go shopping.
So good. It was so good. Kale runs over to me because now I'm on the second call.
I don't know if I ran to you or you were the one who recognized.
Oh no, you came to me, which was this is the really incredible part of the story. You came to me and you're like, so literally I'm on the phone finishing up the second call. I've got a stack of clothes that she has paid for on my behalf with my credit card. We get in the car, go home. Goulash doesn't go in the oven until 4. Dinner was saved. It was delicious. My fabulous photo shoot that I did in Nashville, which is now almost a year ago, so I probably need to do another one, is almost everything that you picked out for me on that shopping trip, on the goulash escapade.
And my husband forgave you, which, this was your first time meeting him. So setting a good impression was really important. And you almost completely lost it. So thankfully, we had some good laughs around it. We got some great new duds. If anyone has a TJ Maxx runway in their local community, Google it and find out if you have one in your location, because it's all the designer stuff and not every TJ Maxx has it. It's designer stuff. And I mean, some really good designer stuff. I go every so often, but I'm really trying not to shop because I literally need nothing, because as you've seen my closet, so I'm more in a purge state than I am an acquisition state. But it's nice to get something new every so often. And I think that's like, ooh, what t-shirt are you wearing? Whenever we FaceTime, which is almost daily, we were like, what is that? What is that outfit? And then
unless we're showing up for our podcast and then we don't talk about what we're wearing and we just show up in the same
we show up matching. They show up matching. But it's the same thing with jewelry. It's like, where'd you get those earrings? Like, talk to me about this. Ooh, I haven't seen that ring. Because we don't live in the same city, there's always something new. And if it's something that you just purchased, well, then I have to go and purchase it. But this is what girlfriends do. And I love it because we keep each other in check and we keep each other well fashioned.
Very much so. And I love that. Let's talk about the other thing that brought us together. So we've got travel, we've got foreign spouses, we've got fashion. But I think the thing that is always the most surprising to anybody who I talk to is the puzzling.
Yeah.
And it's not just any puzzles, it's special puzzles, and I'm talking about jigsaw puzzles. I'm not talking about box puzzles. I'm not talking about Rubik's cubes. I'm talking specifically, and I don't know if you checked your text this morning, but I'm in the middle of a very challenging one because it's all blue with just cats and dogs on it. But the jigsaw puzzling is a thing that it's I don't even want to say it's a toxic trait. Like, I am addicted. So here's how it started for me is every midwinter break when my kids were little, we're a big ski family, and we had friends. I mean, they're still friends, but we had friends who had homes in 4 different ski places. So on the 4th year, we would always go to Sun Valley, so Ketchum, Idaho. And my friend Linda has a place there. And then she's got all these amazing jigsaw puzzles that are like laser cut wood. They're from Boulder. It's called Liberty Puzzles. Spectacular. And so we would like go through, I don't know, 3 puzzles in the week that I was there. So, the feel, it's very tactile. It's very like they're scented because they're wood and it's laser cut wood. So they smell a little bit like that burnt, yummy, delicious. So now I'm addicted and I have a very large collection of them. And, as I tell everybody, you're welcome and I'm sorry. But for Christmas, every year I buy 2 Liberty puzzles, and I buy one in theme of what my kids are into that particular year. And I wrap them up and I give them to the kids. They go under the tree. And then on Christmas morning, we open the presents, and I have adult children. So like, they know what I'm up to now. They unwrap the puzzle and then they hand it back to me.
That's so smart. It's actually really smart. So I did my first Liberty puzzle. Ricky had it shipped from Boulder when she was at the store. And it was Neuschwanstein. So it was a German castle, which was perfectly apropos. And it was so hard. It's so different than any other puzzle. I usually do the Ravensburgers because that's a German puzzle brand. My husband went to college in Ravensburg, and they're beautiful. I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
the pieces are thick. They're very, very nice. So I always have a puzzle on the go. My husband hates it because it's, it looks messy when we have guests over. I'm like, I don't care. Unless we're having kids over, then, I have to put it away. Love them. And part of it is, I actually think it's how my brain works. So if even before I was like a big puzzler, if you would ask me what's my superpower, it would literally be solving really complex problems and putting all the pieces together. So when you lift up the hood of a project inside an organization, a problem that someone is having, I cannot wait to see what like flies out of it, right? What's not connected. And so it's very related to puzzles for me. It's incredibly satisfying. And I love solving it. I love where my brain goes, but it's also mind numbing in a way it's really peaceful. I do it with my coffee or a glass of wine while Reiner's cooking. Yeah. And there's just something incredibly satisfying about it. And I've never met anybody else. Actually, I have several clients now who are huge puzzlers. Sonny, I'm calling you out. And it's just so much fun. Now what we need to do is actually ship puzzles to each other.
Because we need to rent them from each other because
Yeah.
It's
Because it's getting costly
it is
and
getting
I don't
costly.
have anywhere to store all these silly things. So, but it is a really wonderful thing to do. For my mom for Christmas this year, we flew to Canada to see her. I had a puzzle shipped so that
Did
we
you
could do it
really?
while I was there. Yeah.
For your mom or for you?
No, it was
Okay, I just want to know. Okay, but I want to be clear. When we finish the puzzle does not get memorialized with glue and
oh,
backing
gross,
and frame.
gross. Ew, no.
Ew, no. It goes back in the box.
Yeah,
And
immediately. So I
immediately,
can
I
start
take a
now.
picture of it. Okay, just to be clear, when it's finished, I take a picture of it. I usually send it to you and a few other people. I like to touch it because it feels really good. They're really beautiful. And then it goes back in the box. I had some shelves built to house the boxes
Okay,
downstairs.
that is a whole nother level.
That's a whole nother level. And we have a place here and a place in Tucson, and we have a tiny condo in Tucson, but they're down there too, just so you know.
Yeah.
But I will redo them
Yeah.
again after a number of years, but also I let people borrow them. I have some girlfriends in Tucson who like my puzzles.
I
So
love it. It's something else we have in common, which I think is amazing.
I
So the
know.
one thing we didn't talk about is skincare. So,
Oh,
I think skincare is really important. And then the last topic is really just friendship in general.
yeah.
And I think for us meeting in our 50s, when I tell people that I met a new best friend at 53 years old, it actually is still for me so shocking. And I think there's different seasons of our life, and we get to decide who we get to bring in and who perhaps doesn't belong
Right.
in that season. And I
Yeah.
think it's a beautiful way to look at who you're surrounding yourself with. But before that, let's talk skincare,
Okay.
because skincare is super important. So my other bestie, Sherry Arnold, she
By the
owns.
way, I chit-chatted with her on text last night because
Oh,
Jessica's there.
she's
So I wanted
amazing.
to connect them. Anyway, go ahead.
She's amazing. And I love bringing all my amazing friends together. So Sherry owns a day spa in Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, it's in Mount Juliet. It's called Third Coast Salt. So Nashville is known as the Third Coast. Beautiful spa. And she is my skincare guru. I have been going to her for skincare advice since we were in our 20s, when she used to go get her eyebrows waxed in her 20s when she couldn't afford it. And I used to just be mesmerized by how beautiful her eyebrows were. So now, fast forward, we get all our skincare advice from her, and
All of it.
we do not do anything without talking to Sherry. And
Mhm.
it's super interesting. You're
I'm
on the same
84,
regime.
so clearly what Sherry is recommending.
You look incredible.
I
No, but
know.
there's lots to be said for, like, are women doing Botox, and what about fillers? And,
Right.
we talk about Sculptra, and like what are the things that we're doing as we age? So I'm almost 54. You just turned 59. And, it's a conversation. And Sherry,
Right.
of course, is involved in that conversation. And would we do plastic surgery or not do plastic surgery? So I'll give you my plastic surgery update. I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but when I was really young, people used to, for whatever reason, think that I was Chinese. I had like almost no eyelids. I can show you a picture of my eyelids. Or my eyes. They were just like really, really small.
We have talked about this, but please keep going because
Yeah.
I find it fascinating
So
and slightly unbelievable.
it's something that I didn't really think too much about until
Right.
I was in my I'd say around 40. My eyelids drooped so much that it was like I couldn't wear any eyeshadow, and it was always like then greasy by the end of the day. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I had said something to my mom about it. And my mom said that her and my grandma, both her mom, had their upper eyelids done earlier in life. And I thought, that's interesting. So I didn't have like a big eye socket. So when I was 44, I decided to have upper bleph done. And it has been one of the most game-changing things. that I have done. It just opened my
Mhm.
eyes up in such a
Yeah.
significant way. And I had sent a message to the doctor. I never even met the doctor. She was on Park Avenue, so I assumed that she was good. That's how I determined my doctor for plastic surgery. I didn't even go in for a consultation. I did a virtual.
Oh,
And I
okay.
said,
That part I didn't know. That's phenomenal.
yeah,
That's phenomenal.
I trusted my instincts. So she was fantastic. Her name is Dr. Jessica Latman. And I sent her some pictures and I said, listen, am I a candidate? And she was like, you're actually a better candidate than you would think. Maybe that was her sales pitch, but some people wait then too long. And so I did it. And it was the best thing. It was like a literal 6-day recovery. I worked from home. That was when we couldn't, work from home
Right.
formally. And it's been game changing ever since. But I would also do plastic surgery if the time came. And so Sherry, of course, is like looking at who the doctor, and we're going to do a threesome, and
Yeah.
we're going to then like get it all done at the same time and take care of each other, and then stay in a hotel in New York or wherever we decide to
Wherever,
go.
or go to Korea and have it done.
There's the neck, and how are we taking care? And Sherry makes
Right.
sure that we put the skincare all the way
Down.
not just your face. And so, yeah, I think skincare is important, and it's a topic that we talk about a lot.
We do talk about it a lot, and I love it because one of the things that I had said to you when we were going to Nashville in February, Renee, calling you out again. I think we call you out on every episode, but Renee Wright organized Bring Your Light to Nashville. So retreat number 2 a year later, and we're coming up on a year. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we accomplished while we were in Nashville was that I got to see Sherry. I got to go to Third Coast Salt, and we had a retreat at her spa, but I made sure that I was through all my skincare so that she could evaluate my skin,
transform you,
and transform me. And I have to say, in the last year, like I said, I'm 84/59, and I have very good genes. My mom is 82. You would never know it in a million years. Sorry, I just called her out, and I don't think she'll appreciate that. So maybe I won't send this episode to her. But you would never know it. But I had an esthetician, the woman who used to wax my eyebrows 1,000 years ago, say to me, if you start taking care of your skin now, it will render a huge difference as you age. And granted, there are things that happen as we age. I'm postmenopause, so collagen and all of that. But the products really do matter. And to your point, I don't add anything to my daily routine without pinging Sherry first.
Yeah,
and it has truly been life-changing.
The amount of people that stop you since you started on this Obagi regime, the amount of people that stop you and say, what are you doing with your skin? Like it's daily, which is absolutely fascinating. So I feel the same. And we don't have any filters on this camera.
No.
Like the spots, there's no spots. So we got to do whatever we can do to feel good. It's not necessarily about, other people. It's about looking, how do you feel? And then what is the makeup and the regime? And was like, oh, you're glowing.
All of that.
What did you do?
That's a great piece of irony, because talking about your eyelids, you are responsible for my eye makeup as well, right? Because now we use the exact same thing. I had you do my eyes when we were in Chicago in September, literally less than 5 minutes, and it has made an enormous difference. I always show up feeling like I'm made up, and then I see the picture, I see myself. I mean, we're on camera a lot. And I always look underdone. I just, I don't wear a lot of makeup as it is, but it made such a difference in how I look on screen. It's just a little pop. And yes, I wear glasses. So I can change, I change them out. I have a million different colors, but just the difference that it made. I mean, you really are the eye makeup queen, and I appreciate that so much.
Thank you. I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm so happy that it worked.
Clearly, it made a difference. I mean, look,
my makeup regime is literally a 5-minute. I don't wear foundation. I do a little concealer because the black circles. So there's a lower blef, by the way. So if I ever have to get my upper redone, I'll consider the lower. But
You have to get the upper redone. Is that a thing?
Yeah, my mom has had to do it twice now. Yeah, because everything sort of droops, right? Gravity.
Please.
And
I have
she,
5 years on you, 6 years on you, so you'll see.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the question, right? Cody Sanchez, I think I've probably also said this before on the podcast, but Cody Sanchez talks about wearing makeup to work and how women who wear makeup, there's studies that have been done. I think it's a Harvard study. Equally attractive people, one who wears makeup, one who doesn't. The one who wears makeup will get promoted more and make more money. And it's
I
wild.
don't know that we've ever talked about this.
Yeah, I follow her. She's a, I don't know how to actually describe her. She has a company that is like, she's a big venture capital person. She
Okay.
has a huge business buying and selling companies. She talks a lot about just what's happening in the industry and how buying companies is today's new thing. And she just talks about leadership. She's phenomenal. I'm actually considering taking one of her 3-day programs. She also has a program. It's a year-long program for founders and CEOs, and it's called the Boardroom. And so you basically would be surrounded by other really smart people who own companies, all different kinds of companies.
Yeah.
And you learn from each other. And I'm considering this 3-day program in Austin in March this year. And so, yeah, she talks about, just how you show up. It's also how you put yourself together. And I used to, hear this saying, like, dress for the job that you want. And, if you show up put together versus schleppy, does that
Well,
make a difference?
yeah, I think that's obvious, right? Because
Yeah.
70% of the communication is nonverbal, right?
Yeah.
So of course, but the thing about that stat about makeup is really, really interesting. And I remember when I started at my agency back in, the dark ages of time, my second big agency job, people were not dressing for clients. They weren't dressing for meetings. And I changed that dynamic
Yeah.
because I innately understand, like, you have to show up. It gives you authority. It makes you feel powerful. You feel finished, confident, all of that. But I think the stat is really, really interesting. And as a former public speaking professor, right, I always talked about that nonverbal piece of it and showing up for the job, the presentation, the thing that you want. But I love the stat, and I think it's really important.
Well,
So
I would say just one last thing is show up so you feel the best, right?
right.
Like this is about, yes, this is about how you feel. And is there some power in having your face done and wearing a power suit versus a hoodie and no makeup? For me, there is.
Absolutely.
I rarely don't wear at least a little bit of eye makeup, but I don't feel as confident. And so you do you, whatever makes you feel good and makes you feel confident. But yeah.
That's it. So we should wrap, but I do want to just talk for a second about friendship and relationships. And I think it's really important because that's really what today is about. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled, leadership, professional conversations in the coming weeks. And we have some really amazing conversations and topics planned. But this was just so nice today. And, you and I had a catch-up call yesterday in between us darting off to a million different places. But I always talk about relationships being based on trust, respect, and shared purpose, whether they're personal or professional. And one of the things that I have to say is how much I love this friendship and how much I appreciate you, because from day one, it's been about trust and respect. And as we've gotten to know each other over the last almost 2 years now, which is unbelievable, it's such a short amount of time, but that shared purpose piece of it has really just underscored, bolded, italicized how grateful I am to have this type of a new friendship in my 50s. And I think it's really important. And one of the things that I had talked about yesterday is finding your people and knowing who they are and being able to tap into them. And I think there's different levels of people who we know who they are and how to tap into them, which is perfectly okay. But when you find the one or the two that really are life-changing, I hang on to them, right? Nurture that. And, we have a whole life in back of us before we met each other. And yet we've still been able to mesh our families and our professions and our love of just shooting the shit into something that I just think is magical. And
It
I think
is.
it's really important.
I would layer on to that. Thank you, first of all. Something about this friendship that has no history. When you think about your best friends,
Mhm.
there's history. And I'm not saying that this is in my case particularly, but there is no topic or no conversation that you and I can't have.
Right.
And in every case, be open and direct with each other.
Yeah.
And I do think that that is rare, because there are friendships where maybe there's greater sensitivity. It's I know how this person may or may not react, so I may not be fully open about X, Y, or Z. They're like, when I say raw, the good, the ugly, the bad,
Yeah. Right.
everything about where I am, where I've been, where I want to go, in the sense of like things I don't like about myself, things that I want to improve. And we are always helping each other elevate, even if we're not trying. So at the end of after every conversation, one of us will be like, oh my gosh, you said something in our conversation that really struck me. I want to unpack that further. Or I am like running to do XYZ because we unpack that in our conversation. It's like,
Right.
it's always about how can we be the best versions of ourselves, and that evolves and changes all the time, no matter as you go through life.
Mhm.
There are
Mhm.
few people that I know I have in my life, and I'm going to assume it's the same for you, that I am that truly naked with, raw,
Yes. Agreed.
you exposed, and for not 1 second have I ever felt like there is judgment.
Right.
And that I also think is incredibly rare. So I think the point really is, we all have friendships. We all have different seasons in our lives. We all have, moments where perhaps we need to look at the people who are around us, whether
Yeah.
it's your boardroom that you call, like who is sitting at your table, who's
Mhm.
supporting you, and are there people in your life that perhaps don't belong in your next season? And that doesn't mean you need to cut them out or do anything dramatic, but you get to decide who is at your table and who the people,
Yes.
men, women, that are contributing to the best version of you. And they're out there. Don't be shy to put yourself out there. If we wouldn't have gone and met random strangers in Chicago that we met on the internet, which is like, sounds so creepy,
Right.
we would have never known this incredible friendship. So say yes when you get invited, put yourself out there, be vulnerable, be open, and make room for a Ricky or a KL in your life, because it's really life-changing and
It
been
is.
magical.
It is life-changing. So your challenge for this week as we wrap is really look at who your people are. Are they serving you in this season? And where do you need to cleanse? And as KL said, make room for a Ricky or a KL. So tag us or message us, and please tell us about your friendships. I'm looking at the comments on the side here, which are just phenomenal. And as always, we'll see you next week. And KL, are you ready?
Shooting the shit in a skirt.
Keep shooting the shit in a skirt. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. There's a new button.